Introduction. So what is negotiable instrument? It is a document which entitle a person to a sum of money and it's transferable from one person to another by mirror delivery or by endorsement and delivery. The Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 deals with the laws regarding negotiable instruments such as promissory note, bill of exchange, check, etc. This act, based on the English law, certain changes to suit the Indian condition. So the negotiable instrument is a document which will be entitled to get a money from one person to another person, or we can give this document to one person, then that person can transfer it the same to the another person to get a money. That is called endorsement. So such a way the negotiable instrument acts as a money transfer document. When we see the definition, the term negotiable instrument, it is not defined in the Act section 13 as of the Act states that a negotiable instrument means a promissory note, a bill of exchange, or a check payable either to order or to bearer. As this definition gives only the meaning, any instrument of these types can be included in the Act. According to the Justice Willis, a negotiable instrument can be defined as one, the property in which is acquired by anyone who take it bona fide and for value, notwithstanding any defect of the title in the person from whom he took it. It can be seen from this definition that it one take the instrument bona fide and he take it for a value, he acquire a good title even when the transfer may be defective. Capacity of the parties. Any person competent to a contract can become a party to the negotiable instrument. One has capacity to incur liability on the negotiable instrument only when has the capacity to enter into a contract. If one of the parties to a negotiable instrument does not have the capacity to enter into a contract, the agreement is void and against him. However, this will not diminish the liability of the other parties. So the parties who is entering into the contract, that means either receiving a negotiable instrument or giving a negotiable instrument, both the parties should be obtained or they must be qualified according to the Indian Contract Act. That is called capacity of the parties. He or she must be sound mind person, must attain the age of 18 years. So in the Indian Contract Act 1882, we have discussed lot of essential elements of contract. In that itself, I have clearly mentioned about the capacity of parties, rules related to the capacity parties. So we have to fulfill the rules when we enter into the contract with one person. That is also applicable in the negotiable instrument. Example, A, B and M, a minor, executed promissory note in favor of P held. M's immunity from liability did not absolve A and B other joint promises liability. Minors. A minor is not competent to enter into a contract. However, he may draw, endorse or deliver a negotiable instrument so as to bind all the parties except himself. Even all bill not accepted by a minor for the necessaries supplied to him, only his state will be liable, not personally. Persons of unsound mind. Bills or notes drawn or accepted by a persons of unsound mind like lunatic, idiots, drunken person, etc., are void as against them if it is proved that at the time of execution of the document they were incapable of forming a rational judgment as to effect of such instrument. As I told you earlier in the previous slide, the person who is creating a negotiable instrument or who is receiving the negotiable instrument must fulfill the capacity of parties condition. So if the person are lunatic, idiot, drunkenness person, they cannot able to execute it. Corporations. Though corporations are entitled to enter into a contract by generally, they have some limitations to execute a negotiable instrument. Any act done by a corporation beyond the power conferred upon it by its memorandum, it's void. If a corporation executes a negotiable instrument exceeding its power, even a bona fide holder in a due course cannot make the corporation liable. A trading company, unless prohibited by the memorandum of articles of association, has implied power to bind itself by the negotiable instrument. Agent, anyone competent to a contract can buy himself through his authorized agent, draw or accept, endorse a bill of exchange. An agent who execute a negotiable instrument for his principal can bind the principal provided that he state the principal name and stated that he is signing as an agent and he act within a scope of his authority. So it is mostly applicable in the bill of exchange. As we will discuss in the future what is called bill of exchange. It is also one type of a negotiable instrument. So mostly for commercial purpose we'll be using it when the person, the seller wants to send a goods to another person through his agent. He can collect the money from the payee via his agent. So the agent also is having some eligibility to get an amount in behalf of his principal. Partners, each partner in trading firm has the implied authority to bind his co-partners by drawing, endorsing, accepting, or negotiating bills, notes, checks. But a partner of non-trading firm has no such implied authority. So here the co-partners have a right to claim amount from the payee, to create a promissory note or bill of exchange and check. Similarly, they can get into the transaction of the negotiable instrument. Even the partner can endorse the check to the another person. Joint Hindu families. In a joint Hindu families, the elder person is called as a karta, alone has the capacity to enter into a contract on behalf of the family. Therefore, an instrument executed by him binds all other members of the family. Legal representatives. After the death of the holder of a negotiable instrument, then the legal representative get all the rights, liabilities on such instrument. For example, I have given check to one person. Before going to submit the check for the cash withdrawal from the banker, if the person dies before the maturity period, the legal representative of the concerned person, by showing the identity proof to the banker, can withdraw the amount what is specified in the check. Similarly, it is applicable to the both the promissory note as well as the bill of exchange. Type of negotiable instrument. Negotiable instrument can be divided into the following types, like negotiable by statute, negotiable by customs or usage. Negotiable by statute, section 13 of the Negotiable Instrument Act states only three kinds of negotiable instrument, like promissory note, bill of exchange and check. These are instrument by statute. Negotiable of custom of usage. These are instruments which gained the characteristics of negotiability by the usage or custom trade. In India, government promissory note, bankers draft or pay orders, hundis, deliver orders, railway receipts for goods have been held to be negotiable by the usage of custom. So this bill of exchange promissory note also will be monitored by the customs, especially when we are involving into the export import business. That will be monitored, that will be checked by the custom officer. So we should be very careful while we are transferring any kind of a goods to the other countries by endorsing, I mean by attaching any kind of a bill of exchange. Holder and holder in due course. First of all, who is called holder? Section 8 defines holder of a negotiable instrument is any person who is entitled his own name to the possession of the instrument and to receive or recover the amount due therefore from the parties. That too. For example, if I have given a check to Mala, Mala is called as a holder of the check. Holder in due course. A holder in a due course is any person who for consideration become a possessor of a negotiable instrument if payable to the bearer, provided he got a possession before the amount mentioned in it became payable without sufficient causes to believe that any defect existed in the title of the person from whom he derived